In business, as in sales, ye who cares less wins, right? So yes, I wanted the house, but she needed out of it more than I wanted to buy it.
Yes.
So she was willing to say, hey, listen, I'm willing to kind of do what needs to be done because I need to get out of this house.
Right.
That's what makes these deals work, man.
Yeah, you came in and honestly, you created a solution for her that she didn't even know existed. And she was probably thrilled. This is my opportunity to get out of here. Welcome to the BiggerPockets Best Deal Ever show. I'm your lovable host, Ken Corsini, who with my wife, Anita, have flipped over 800 houses in Atlanta since 2005 and even have a show on HGTV. But this show isn't about us. It's about all the amazing real estate investors out there that are crushing it. It's about their stories, their best deals, how they sourced them, how they funded them, and what we can learn from their experiences. This is the Best Deal Ever show. Hey, this is Ken Corsini with the Best Deal Ever show. On today's episode, I am joined by my main man, Joe Lieber out of Cleveland, Ohio. How you doing, man?
Yo, what's up, man?
Dude, I'm loving the custom microphone.
Yeah, dude, I'm trying to get fancy these days.
That's legit. For those of you that don't know, Joe is a big baller. Bottom line, he's just bought his new Land Rover yesterday, sitting next to his Bentley.
Yes, sir, it is.
I love it, dude. Hey, so Joe and I actually go back. Joe and we've been in the same mastermind probably since, 2012? I think that's when I joined.
12 or 13, yeah, right around there.
Interestingly enough, I went up to Cleveland, hung out with them, bought some properties, kind of regret it. Just kidding. Cleveland, if you guys have never been to Cleveland, it was a very cool town. The city's a little bit difficult to work with when it comes to landlord-tenant issues, but
Sure.
The city itself, awesome, right?
Yeah, it's a great place.
I mean, so many cool things going on up there. But so Joe is affectionately known as the ghettoologist. You still go by the ghettoologist?
A little bit, yeah. Trying to become the betterologist, but yeah, for sure.
I like it. So, so tell people your model up there in Cleveland.
So yeah, man, I've been selling turnkey for the past couple of years. I buy houses, cheaper houses on the Cleveland's west side, and we rent them out either private pay or Section 8. And we're a cash flow state, so it's heavy cash flow.
Yeah, big time.
And I keep a lot of stuff. I sell a lot of stuff. Just it's real estate investing, man.
Yeah. Well, that's sort of been your thing over the last several years. You've amassed a massive portfolio of houses up there, and you were buying them at the bottom. So what were you buying these houses for?
Oh my gosh, dude, there was a period of time where I was buying houses between $5,000 and $20,000.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
And they're practically free houses. For a while.
And the rents never changed much,
Yeah.
So even back then, you're getting $800 a month on a house you paid $10,000 for with a $5,000 rehab. And it's just crazy. It really went on for a long, long time. And I still have a lot of those houses to this day.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, they're sort of the old school row houses, right?
Yep.
And what I was surprised about is how inexpensive the houses were up there, but how the neighborhoods actually were still good neighborhoods. I felt like I was going to be in a real dangerous area. Yeah. And we're walking these streets. It felt really normal. It didn't feel, like I was in the hood.
And it wasn't. It's not hood.
It's not.
Good.
No.
There are hood neighborhoods, but I try to stay clear of those these days, man.
You kept me out of this. What was funny, him and I are driving around Cleveland, so many years back. And all of a sudden it's like, wait a second, that's the house from A Christmas Story.
Yeah, man.
And it looks, it fit. What's funny is the street just was like a normal street in the middle of Cleveland. And there was like the Christmas Story house, which is like one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah.
You got a leg lamp. I think I sent you a leg lamp.
I think you did send me. I still have that actually at my office.
Good.
That's amazing.
Good.
So over the last so many years, you were over, 100. What were you at the height? Like how big was your portfolio?
Dude, I was about 217 SFRs, man. Yeah.
Really? I did not realize you got that high.
I got real big. And I realized quickly though, at that many properties, you either got to go bigger to get more staff, because that's a weird number, or you have to come down.
Yeah.
And there was a period where I was just buying to buy, man. I was like, I would buy anything. You could call me, I'll take it, And I noticed that was a mistake, right? Because you're buying a house that needed, they're heavy CapEx.
Yes.
They needed things done, and they weren't the best neighborhoods, weren't the best situations. I just figured, man, instead of trying to scale up and just create more chaos in my life, I'm going to bring it down. So I brought it down. I sold about 100. I sold 100. I kept myself around the 120 property range for a lot of years.
Wow.
And then recently started coming off of that a little bit.
And are you just sort of letting go of the ones that have been the problem houses and kind of keeping the cherries for the most part?
No, not really, man.
Really?
It's just, it wears on you, right? It's a lot of work. It's real estate investing rentals. It's not a passive investment.
Right.
It's an active passive investment.
Right.
And for anyone who thinks it's passive, you're going to lose a hell of a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, I had to keep my finger on the trigger every day. You got to sit in that seat. Yep. And I'm driving it. I'm sending leasing agents out, disposition team, project managers. And I still do that to this day. But you have to stay on the trigger or you're going to lose a hell of a lot of money.
Yeah.
And that's just the reality of it,
It's one of those things, even if you've got a property manager on staff like you did, you're still the quarterback. You're still telling people what plays to run. I mean, the whole dang time, you're still making decisions on what to fix and what not to fix and how to handle this tenant situation. So I think that's a really important point to make, that it's not 100% passive like some people think.
No, it's not.
Did you ever want to bring in like an outside property manager where you tried to be hands off? Did you ever go that route?
I never did. I was always trying to keep a pulse on the repairs. I think property management companies are great. I love them. They handle a lot of the bull, but they make their money in their repairs, and I was always able to find cheap labor. Yeah. So instead of paying $200 to install a kitchen faucet, I'd rather have paid $75.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just felt like I had to just always keep my trigger on it, man. From clean outs to turnover to evictions. Yeah. I could never turn it over, man.
Yeah. And that's where you get nailed, especially on an older house. There's always some amount of CapEx, and then turnover will kill you if you're not careful.
Absolutely. And it'll crush profits. These houses only are going to make, between $5,000 and $8,000 net a year anyways. And that can go really quickly with a roof or windows furnace. Next thing you know, it's a break-even investment the whole year. Yeah. So just really careful.
Well, and if I remember correctly, for a long time, you were putting private notes on most of these acquisitions with like really fast amortizations, like 5-year, 10-year AMs, right?
That was my secret ninja trick. That's how I got the whole thing paid for. Yeah. From like 2008 to 2013, you could buy this houses so cheap that I would actually finance them with private mortgages from private lenders on 5-year fully amortized loans. I was paying 15% to lenders and still breaking even or slightly cash flowing.
Oh my gosh.
It was a 5-year AM, dude. I had that. That's how I got the whole portfolio paid for. Yeah. So quickly. Right. They're just 5-year AM, dude. It was amazing.
So at this point, your whole portfolio is owned outright? Do you still have any mortgages?
Owned outright. I have no mortgages on my portfolio. Pretty cool, right?
Let's high five.
High five, man.
That's amazing.
That happened January of 2017 is when the last mortgage paid off.
Wow.
So it's been a couple years now, man. Yeah.
So every time you just dispose or any of those houses, you sell them, bam, that's straight cash in your pocket.
Straight cash.
Well, that's
straight cash.
that's a pretty big tax event too. So are you doing 1031s with any of that?
I'm not. I'm taking the tax hit right now. I'm doing some private lending.
Okay.
Doing a lot of joint venture stuff, where you have newer investors come in and I'm bringing the money and bringing, the expert tutelage to the deal. Yep. And we're partnering on stuff. And I'm really enjoying that, to be honest. That's awesome. It's a lot of work and it's less work for me. So I'm cool with that,
Absolutely. Let somebody operate it and put your money to work for you.
Exactly.
That's very cool. So during those, those prime years when you were, especially in the like 210, 211, when they were super cheap, what did those acquisition strategies look like for you?
There were a couple of different ways. There was obviously just buying REOs, just straight cash, getting private lending or using your own money. Mm-hmm. And then there were other more creative ways. I was trying to buy to scale. So you really needed to come up with creative ways to do things. And there was owner financing was a great tool. Yep. I would look for people who were sitting on MLS for a long time. And if they had no mortgage, I would offer them terms, and people liked that because they didn't have the tax implications and they liked that. And then one of my favorite strategies at that time was sub 2, buying subject to the mortgage.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. Well, so that might lead us into your best deal, because I think you were going to talk about a sub 2. Let's jump right in. Was one of your best deals was a subject 2?
Yeah, it was really good, man. So, here the idea is I was trying to buy this house without any money out of my pocket because I didn't have any real money to speak of,
Right.
So that was the plan. So here's what I did. I found a property on MLS. It's right on MLS. These houses are hiding in plain freaking sight,
Yeah.
And 150 days on MLS, right? It was a double. It was a 2-family home. Doubles.
Okay.
And we don't call them duplexes in Cleveland. We call them doubles because they're up and down, most of them.
Are they? They're not side by side?
No, a side by side is a duplex. Up and down's a double.
Interesting.
At least here. Huh. Yeah. So this is a double, right? It's a traditional double, as we like to call it. And she was asking too much for the property is the bottom line.
Yeah.
She was asking like, I don't know what it was, $100,000. At the time that was insane, right?
Yeah.
The house is probably worth 70 grand.
Yep.
So I remember her name, Jeannie. And I called Jeannie up. I called her realtor and said, I'm interested, blah, blah, blah. And the realtor didn't want to deal with it because she knew it was over equity. They were going to release the listing.
Yep.
So I went over there and visited the property and met the seller myself. She lived in the downstairs unit of this property.
Okay.
I said, hey, listen, I'd like to buy your property, but it's not worth 100 grand. It's probably worth 70. And she says, well, Joe, I owe 88,000 on it.
Wow.
And, with real estate commissions and closing costs, I have to get 100.
Yep.
I'm like, dude, there's no deal there, right? I mean, what am I going to do?
Right.
But I'm thinking, well, this is going to go up in value over the years. I know it is, and I can still make this thing cash flow. So we got to talking. I said, Jeannie, well, what's your, 88,000? What's your mortgage? Her mortgage was like $550 a month.
Wow.
She was 10 years in on a 30-year mortgage.
Wow.
So she was starting to get some amortization, right? We're getting to that spot where it's not all interest. We're 10 years in the 30. We're getting some amortization. And with the taxes and the insurance that were not included in the payment, the total payment was like $700 a month.
Okay.
I knew these rent units would rent for $550 each.
Okay. Yeah.
And because she lived in the house, it was owner occupied. It wasn't beat to death,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And we all know the difference between a tenant occupied home and an owner occupied home.
Yes,
There's a difference.
For sure.
Just call it what it is. So Jeannie lived there, and it was good, man. Yeah. It was great, but it was like good. It was rent ready.
Yeah.
So I knew I'd have no out-of-pocket expense in a rehab. And I figured if I could assume her mortgage, this could be a wonderful opportunity, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So I spoke with her about like, hey, listen, I here's how I can get you out. And she was choking, like she couldn't really make the payments,
I gotcha. Yeah.
She
was she renting out the upstairs?
It was vacant at the time.
Oh, it was vacant. Okay.
She had a girlfriend up there. They took advantage of her, a friend and all, that whole game. So she's burnt out. She wants to, get on with her life. I think she wanted to move out of state. I think she wanted to move to South Carolina from what I can remember.
Wow.
But there's massive opportunity in these situations. You got to find people that have a situation in a real estate deal. Those are the ones that are most motivated.
Sure. Yep.
So I took the title. I put the title in my name.
Okay.
So I had the title.
Yep.
And the mortgage just remained there. Right?
Yep.
And she was cool. They gave her no money. Just move out. And I got it from here. Jeannie, don't worry about it. So I started making her mortgage payment.
So what did you do to make her comfortable with that? Because, a lot of people in a subject to negotiation are going to get uncomfortable with, wait a second, how do I know you're going to make my mortgage payment? What's going to happen?
For sure, man. It's a big deal. And it comes down to this, like, in my opinion, only a certain person can sell that. Like if you're sending an acquisitions manager out for your big company.
Yep. That's tough.
Dude, I was there. I'm getting personal with her. When I go meet a seller, you take them a little box of cookies. You're building rapport.
Yep.
You tell how you have a family. That's how I was so successful in getting sub twos. It's just you're really talking from the heart, and I would show how genuine I really am. I wasn't hiding behind this big company name or whatever. I'm just a guy trying to make my mark. I'm trying to buy some houses, and I'm going to do the right thing.
Yeah.
There wasn't any crazy sales pitch. Just looking her in the eye saying, Jeannie, I know you want out of here, and I'm going to do this. And if I don't, what's the alternative? It's going to go into foreclosure, which is going to go into foreclosure anyways, because you're a couple months away from not making the payments yourself.
Wow. Yeah.
So she was really cool with it, man. She was.
Wow. Well, I will attest to the fact that you were a very good salesman.
I appreciate that.
So I can see you sitting in that living room, making her feel good about it. So contractually, what does that look like then? Do you say, look, I'm going to start just making the mortgage payments directly? What does that look like in terms of inking that up?
So it was just, we did a quick claim deed over to my company name.
Okay.
And we didn't write anything up. It was like, I'm going to start making the payments next month.
Okay.
And that's what it is.
Yeah.
And I said, when this property has the loan to value to be able to refinance it, I'll refinance the house in my name.
Gotcha.
And we couldn't put a time frame on it because we were in a bad real estate market. We didn't know what was going to happen, if things were going to go up or down or sideways. We just didn't know.
Yep.
So I couldn't commit to anything because I didn't want to put myself in a situation.
Right.
I said I have to refinance in 3 years when I can't because the market won't allow me.
Yep.
Or maybe I bought a bunch more houses and I can't get refinanced. There could be a multitude of reasons. So I kind of had to leave it open. It just it is what it is. In business, as in sales, he who cares less wins, right? So yes, I wanted the house, but she needed out of it more than I wanted to buy it.
Yes.
So she was willing to say, hey, listen, I'm willing to kind of do what needs to be done. because I need to get out of this house.
Right. Right.
That's what makes these deals work, man.
Yeah. You came in and honestly, you created a solution for her that she didn't even know existed. And she was probably thrilled. This is my opportunity to get out of here.
Exactly. So here's what's cool. I'm gonna go a little bit more into this deal, right?
Yep.
So I take this house over, and it's no money out of my pocket, right? There's no rehab, and I know that 2-family homes in Cleveland, they're a lot of work, dude. They're a lot of management, intense.
Sure.
So I did something better. I did a master lease option on this property, right? And I leased the whole place out for $1,100 a month.
Okay.
To one person. Now that person, they can live in the downstairs, and they probably should rent the upstairs out, right?
Yeah.
If they can get more, which they probably could. I knew the rent was like $550, but I mean, some people are getting $600, $625,
Sure.
even better.
Right.
So they do that, it offsets their payment to me, right?
Yep.
Or the hell, I didn't care if they leased the whole thing out and didn't live there.
Right.
But I wanted to put it on somebody else, right?
Right.
And I did that. So $1,100 a month. The person actually moved in the downstairs. They leased out the upstairs.
Okay.
And they paid that rent. This went on for 3.5 years.
Really?
I didn't hear a peep, man. And I was making money.
Yeah.
So this whole time I'm making cash flow. I can't believe it. It's like a triple net lease, right? And I'm making the cash flow, and her mortgage is going down.
Are you responsible for taxes and insurance?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to pay them.
Gotcha.
I had to pay them.
Okay, gotcha.
I want to make sure they were paid too. So
yeah, for sure.
I just paid them.
Yeah.
But my whole nut was $700 a month, so
Sure.
I'm still making really good money. You know?
Yep.
Yeah,
Right.
it's good.
Absolutely.
It's good. And what I'm doing is I'm creating equity, creating cash flow out of thin air. Right?
That's right. That's right.
So I do this, and it goes for 3.5 years like this.
Okay.
Now I hear a peep, man, and life was good, real good. Well, what I did was I signed a deal with them on a master lease option with an option to buy at 110.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Right?
Nice.
Now at that time, the house might not have been worth that, but I'll throttle it later on. If the
Sure.
house is only worth 80, we'll go down. If it's
Yeah.
worth more, well, I get screwed. And that's how I would teach it. I tell the people, I'd say, listen, we're going to rate it up at 110. It's like a future projection. House could be worth 130. House could be worth 80. But we'll have to throttle it and figure it out if you can really buy it at that time.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, man, they could buy it at that time.
Okay.
It was like 39 months later, they come to me and say, hey, we're pre-approved and we're ready to close on financing. I'm like, this is a dream deal, dude, right? Because the $88,000 payment I took over was still getting principal reduction, and a lot of principal reduction because, like I said, we're already 10 years in on the note. And at this point now we're 13 years in on the note.
Yeah, right.
So I think don't hold me to these numbers. It's been a little while now, but I think the loan balance might have been around 80 grand.
Okay. So you paid down another 8. And so that was
Yeah.
part of your original agreement is you're taking over her note, including
Yes.
principal pay down.
Yes, including
Okay.
principal pay down. She's
Gotcha.
out of it. Yep.
She's out.
So we go into closing, and I had to give my seller like concession, you know, but I
Sure.
don't care, dude. 110, so I gave him $4,000 closing costs. I'm still getting 106.
Right.
Like when you're talking big numbers like that, like I'm not penny pinching.
No.
I'm just grateful. I made $400 a month. I'm grateful. I'm about to get a huge check.
Yep.
So give them their freaking, seller concession.
Yep.
So I did, man. And 106 minus some seller, the closing
Sure.
costs,
A little
and the
bit here and
tax
there.
credit.
Right.
But dude, I walk out of closing the check for like 20 some grand.
Yeah. That's amazing.
And I was like, this is cool. This is really cool. I could do this times 100,
right. Yeah.
So-
Don't you wish they were all that smooth?
Dude, of course,
Yeah.
and they're not all that smooth, but it's happened. It's happened a lot over the years. And
Really, where they're just everything goes smoothly.
yeah, it happens. It
Yeah.
happens. I mean, you have your headaches, but of course, we're not telling war stories on this show. We're telling the successes.
That's
And
right.
that's okay.
Yeah.
But the more stuff you stick at the wall, the more opportunity you have to make money, the more dollars you waller in, the more stick to you, as they say, all the cliche things they say,
Yeah.
but yeah, man. So it was a really good sub too. They're out there every day. I mean,
Yeah.
people need to, sell these houses in situations, and they have mortgages, and there's
Absolutely.
opportunity, brother.
Love it,
Opportunity
man.
everywhere.
So this is probably a little early on in your career. What did you take away from this deal? What did you learn? How did you change your business going forward, having done a deal like this?
Well, this is the thing, man. It's like the real estate markets are ever changing. So just because you have a strategy that might work today doesn't necessarily work 3 years later.
Right.
And you have to be on the cutting edge and know what's going on, and almost, in my opinion, in every market in the country, because you almost got to know what's coming to you. what's coming. Being a Cleveland, Ohio guy, I'll watch California, I'll watch Phoenix, I'll watch Dallas, because it like seems to sweep across the country of what's happening. But that deal got me real excited, man. I learned a lot. I did a lot more of those. I did a lot of seller financing. It made me look at deals in different ways. It made me figure out ways to do deals and put deals together. You don't always have to have a bunch of money.
Right.
And it was valuable. I mean, it absolutely valuable experience.
Man, that's amazing. Joe, great sub 2 story. You know, I don't think we've even had a sub 2 story yet on Best Deal Ever. So really appreciate you coming on and sharing with us. Always good to see you, brother.
You too, man. Thank you.
Take care, man. See you.
Take care, buddy. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Best Deal Ever show, brought to you by BiggerPockets. If you've been energized, entertained, or enlightened by today's show, please feel free to hit the subscribe button. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Ken Corsini, or check us out online at redbarnhomes.com. And don't forget, one man's best deal ever may be the inspiration you need to create your next best deal. So hope to see you on the next episode.